Hi, I'm Catherine Diorio, and welcome to Check Please, the show where regular people from all over Chicago recommend and review their favorite restaurants. So this is how the show works. Every week we have 3 guests. Each recommends his or her favorite spot, and the other 2 go check them out and see what they think. This week, labor educator Liz Gress says she always leaves the hard work behind when she relaxes with the fun and flavors at her favorite Mexican seafood spot. But comedian Elizabeth Gomez can provide wit and wisdom about her favorite find. She says it may be the best and most honest Thai cuisine in town. Up first, media editor Dan Camus never cuts corners when he dines out. He says of all the options in River North, there's one that truly stands out. He says for upscale cuisine in a fabulous setting, wander over to Wabash, stop in at Travell.
Travell is seasonal Midwestern, seasonal American, sort of harkens back to everything I grew up eating in central Missouri and all of my favorite things I've discovered in Chicago. Some seriously approachable, delicious food. Honesty on the plate is something that connects to the Chicago diner. They don't go for pomp and circumstance all that much. They're not one for frills all that much. I think the secret is to think things that people crave. I've always loved open kitchens, and this is a kind of an improvement because it's kind of in a glass box. We call it the Chefquarium. But it's great to be able to see the guests, to see the dining room floor. It's an energy transfer thing that happens that's just fun. I think the experience you're left with is just this notion of hospitality. This Midwestern openness and genuine happiness that you came and just a hope that you really enjoyed it. And I think that that level of experience is what you leave with.
So Dan, you say Travell is terrific. Tell us why you chose it.
You know, I love making an experience of when I go out to eat, and I've been to a lot of places downtown. Travell, when it opened, I had heard some things. I knew the Langham was a great hotel chain, and I said, I need to check it out. Went with a friend, and we went for lunch, a work lunch, and it kind of blew my expectations out of the water. And I went for dinner for the first time, actually went yesterday again. Continues to defy my expectations of what fine dining is in the city. It's impressive. They just do everything very well, and there's a good attention to detail. That, and they have a kitchen that you can actually see into, which I love. The Chef Aquarium.
The Chef Aquarium.
That's what I called it, a terrarium. Yeah, it's the same thing. So, yeah, I love it. I just think it's a really cool, not sterile environment, which is a lot of fun.
Which isn't easy to find, always in a hotel dining experience.
Yep.
So speaking of hotel dining experiences, Elizabeth, I know that's not really your jam.
Yeah, so against hotel restaurants, actually. I did think that Travell was very good. I did enjoy a lot of the things that they were doing. The burrata was amazing, actually. They had used some really interesting ingredients. The other things that I really liked were things that were super simple. Like they had a shaved fennel salad, which was peas and shrimp and lemon vinaigrette. You can't go wrong. And I went with a gin drink that they had. Delicious. Right, delicious.
Yeah, their drinks are very
really
underrated.
Cocktails were fine. The food I was not a total fan. I have to say, when we sat down and looked at the menu, I was very excited about it. I looked at it and I said, this food sounds amazing. Most of the dishes, there was always something that didn't quite, it felt like a work in progress. There were some things that were good. Like we ordered, one of our appetizers was a bone marrow appetizer.
Oh, I had that yesterday.
With the jardinara on it.
Oh my
it's
God.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It is, we were sopping up the plate.
Oh, same.
So when they get it right, they get it right. It's a beautiful spot. The service is great. So, you know, you kind of get these really high expectations about what you're going to get, right? And they just work on the food a little bit more. They got everything else down. So
I do think that because we talked to one of the waiters and they had just recently switched over to this Southern influenced menu, because we also had the soft shell crab, and that was that was a disappointment.
Yeah.
Only because they put way too much breading on it.
Yes.
And soft shell crab is such a delicate thing to have in general that it really, I mean, it's so great on its own. Why would you bread it so hard?
was like the gnocchi that we had with ramps on it. It was fantastic, and it was like so subtle. It's such simple things that they do well.
Yeah. The salmon was like that. I mean, like salmon is probably the most boring thing you could ever order off a menu, but they did a really great job. It had the right amount of moisture in it, and then the skin was very crispy and a little crunchy, almost like a skin jerky. I do think that when you talk about things that were really simple, they nailed it. I had a cream puff, like a cream puff at the end of my dinner.
Right.
And I thought that was the best thing that I've ever put, well, it's not the best thing I've ever put in my mouth, but it's definitely, it's definitely like on the top there. So I thought that was really good. The desserts were delicious.
Yeah, we had an olive oil cake that was amazing. It was so good. You could taste, like there was a little bitterness to the olive oil that you could taste, but it was nice and sweet still. I loved that cake. I'm still thinking about that cake.
And I have a question. What's the pricing like here, and do you only go there for lunch?
So no,
Aside from this one time for dinner.
It's a higher end restaurant. You're gonna be spending probably $40-50 a head before drinks if you get a starter. That being said, I go to places like that to really kind of have a different experience, and I think that's something Travell does very well.
And they do, they curate their art collection from emerging and established Chicago artists, and they have the digital wall, just like installation there, and so the chef aquarium. So,
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like all the chefs glassed in an aquarium and they're doing their thing, right? And it's really fun to watch because you can see all the dishes getting made, and it's kind of in the middle of the dining room.
It is a good place where like I would bring a special celebration, or if my parents were visiting, or if I had a business meeting, because that's what they're called, business meetings.
That's what they called it at the front desk. So like, this is a business meeting.
so who else did we find there?
What's interesting is I see a lot of younger people. People know about it. It's not a secret thing. It's a social place. A couple Fridays ago, we went to the lounge. There are a lot of people there on a Friday night, and it's not everybody has figured it out yet, but when they do, I think it'll be standing room only.
Dan, you chose Travell. Sum it up for us.
Travell is top of the pack food in a really warm and inviting environment.
Liz?
Very attentive service, great views, beautiful views, but at that price point, it's got some stiff competition in the city.
And Elizabeth?
It's fine.
You can try it for yourself at Travell, located on the second floor of the Langham Hotel, 330 North Wabash, 312-923-7705. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner during the week, and brunch and dinner on the weekends. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $52. Liz Gress knows that Chicagoans have to suffer through some crazy winter weather to get to the good stuff. But she says when the beach is out of reach, she knows just where to go. Just pop on over to McKinley Park and stop by La Palapa.
Oh, you expect fiesta. It's a great environment, the atmosphere, the food, the norteño bands, the music, it's palm trees, there is no way to describe it. You need to come here.
It's not like every other seafood that we have in Chicago. It's really, even the names are unique, like the rompecolchón, the mattress breaker, the paellas, the camarones palapa. Some people come here like early in the morning and will leave like at 8 at night, just because they get to relax and forget that they're in Chicago for a minute or two.
They also say, oh, and you know what, it's BYOB, take your own stuff, and it's a nice patio outdoors, and that they like a lot of the dishes. I mean, people get really fascinated.
And working with your family is just great. I'm very proud of him, my aunt, everybody that works here, and it's just fun. It's basically fun.
Well, I will say if there is a meaning for success, I'll say it's fulfilling. We feel just so happy.
So Liz, you say La Palapa has won you over. Tell us why you chose it.
Well, so I chose it because it's kind of this unexpected restaurant. I had to be convinced to go. I live in the neighborhood, and then my partner said, hey, there's this Mexican seafood restaurant there now. Let's go get some ceviche. And I'm thinking, ceviche by the tracks on this corner? I'm not so sure. But we went, and I was blown away. Like, the food was really good. You know, people were loving being there, and it has, over the time that it's been there, it's just grown. Like, all of a sudden they have this big beach patio, and it gets, you know, crazy crowded and very festive, and people really enjoy it.
I absolutely love it. It's exactly the type of place that I like to eat at. It's reasonably priced. It's BYOB. It's BYOB. It's BYOB. It's got fake sharks, palapas. Again, BYOB. And it's really like fun and loud, and there's mariachis. I mean, there's basically anything you want on a good Saturday night with your family. I feel like that's a big deal. Like, I wouldn't go there if I was like trying to have an intimate dinner with my husband, but I definitely loved being able to be there with a big group and just passing the food plates around and just being loud and listening to the mariachis. Yeah, it was so great. So great.
So here's the thing. I grew up in the culture of that restaurant. I'm half Hispanic. I know all about the loudness, love it, love the music, love all that stuff. But I, like you, was like, ceviche in Chicago, like, give me a break.
Right.
What's funny is I just came back from Costa Rica. Before I went there, my mom is from there, and we went, and I'm like, holy cow, I'm back in Costa Rica. And it's like, we're in the middle of Chicago. How is this possible? It feels like a surf shack you pulled off the road to stop at, and you went and got some awesome ceviche that just got out of the ocean. They just got the seafood out of the ocean. So it's, I love all dining experiences, don't get me wrong. And truthfully, for a casual, like, friends, guys night out, La Palapa's perfect. It's like, I would go there with my guy friends. We'd probably have a little too much to drink, but the train's right there, or a short cab right away, and it's a great time. I loved it. I can't recommend it enough.
The dishes that I really like are, there's one that's called the rompecolchon, which means mattress
I love
breaker.
that name.
Yeah, there's the whole aphrodisiac theme to some of the dishes.
At a family-style restaurant.
Right, at a
family-style
yeah,
restaurant.
Yeah. So that's a very good dish. It's a mix of seafood with rice, and I don't know what they put in terms of the spice, but it's just really amazing. The last time I was there, I tried this dish called the charolada, which is also no rice, but it's a mix of different seafoods, mussels, octopus, shrimp, with shell on and shell off, and it blew me away. You have your ceviche, you've got like shrimp cocktails and other kind of cocktails. So it's really great food.
We had, I mean, the mattress breaker is the best. Super buttery rice, you know, with
amounts of butter.
Yeah, an obscene amount of seafood over the top. Although I did notice that there were no oysters in that particular dish, which makes me go like, where's the mattress breaking part? But maybe I don't know my aphrodisiacs as well as I should. We had the pelazon. I don't know what it's basically like snow crab legs. They were super great. We also had the calamari, which came with this really spicy, like out of this world spicy garlic sauce. So good, so good.
So Liz, you live nearby.
Yeah.
What's the crowd there? Is it neighborhood primarily?
It's a lot of neighborhood folks, and it really is. A lot of families come, or you'll see folks getting off of work early in the afternoon, and they bring their case of beer and hang out there, you know, having their ceviche and having their seafood.
Elizabeth and Dan, I mean, you guys travel all over for food. You guys are into dining out. Is this somewhere, so you might not feel uncomfortable there, but is it welcoming?
I called to make a reservation. They don't take them. She answered in Spanish. And luckily I speak Spanish, so it's like, oh, okay, that kind of threw me for a loop. I'm like, now I'm jumping back. So it's like, if you don't speak Spanish and you're not comfortable around a lot of people, it could be a little uncomfortable at first, but I would say the environment is very welcoming once you kind of get used to it. So.
Hola, doña Felina. ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está?
I just think if you're going to go, just go with the mindset that you're having fun. And if you're wound up and you think that it's going to be like too intense for you, relax and bring some wine. You know, I came there with a bunch of friends and my kids, and we had the best time. I mean,
So it's
it was
kid
just
friendly.
yeah. And so we were definitely like in that
Yeah.
family mode.
So Liz, you chose La Palapa. Sum it up for us.
Festive, unexpected, and fabulous Mexican seafood.
Great. Dan?
Save yourself the money. Don't go to Central America. Don't go to Miami. Go to McKinley Park. Go to La Palapa. It's a good enough experience. You just probably won't get a tan.
Okay. Elizabeth?
Have fun. It's a fun place. That's
Yeah.
all I could say.
You can try the langostinos and more at La Palapa, 2000 West 34th Street, 773-376-9620. Open for lunch and dinner every day. Alcohol is BYOB. Reservations are accepted during the week, and the average tab per person is $20. Elizabeth Gomez doesn't care about the restaurants that get all the hype. Just give her some great food and friendly service, and she's good to go. That's why if you want amazing Asian flavors in a simple setting, she says follow her to Ravenswood and stop in at Aroy Thai.
Aroy in Thai means delicious. All of my recipe came from my mom. I from north part of Thailand. My mom she from that part too, and we learned to cook in Thailand, and then we brought it here to Chicago. So every dish I tell customers spicy, that means spicy. They will expect that's gonna be spicy. I try to make my customers, they feel that they are in Thailand, you know. So we have to come and talk, reading them, recommend them what you should eat. And before you teach them how to cook, you have to teach them how to eat first.
I love the noodles.
We go with what's the stick rice go with this? What rice go with this? That's I want them to tell all friends that my food delicious, or tell them my food Aroy mak in Thai.
So Elizabeth, you say Aroy Thai is always high on your list. Tell us why you chose it.
It's just like, it's like being like having your mom cook for you at home. It's super comforting, and all the flavors they're not afraid to be authentic in their flavors, which I do find in a lot of Thai places that people try to like mellow out the flavors, mellow out the funkiness, and I love those things, especially because I grew up in a Korean household. Like, I love funk, and I think they do a great job at it. For example, one of my favorite things is chuchu pork. It's basically like a pork bolognese. It's probably the best way to say that.
curry
Yeah,
and
with like eggs on it. The samtam is amazing. They are not afraid of heat when you have that papaya salad. They are happy to put as much on it as you can handle. The owner of the restaurant, T, is fantastic. He knows everyone who walks through the door. He's happy to be there. His mom is the chef. I mean, it couldn't be any cuter or more delicious.
You know, it was very hit or miss for me. You know, I thought what was it called? It was like the shrimp that was in the pineapple with the coconut
Yes.
curry. I thought it was fantastic, and I love weird presentations like that. I love the pad see ew. I thought that was, am I saying it right?
Yeah, pad see ew.
Okay, thank God. I thought that was fantastic. I thought I hate it when it's flimsy, the pork is flimsy in that dish, and it was seared perfectly, and it had like a little crunch on the outside, the caramelization, and then it was tender on the inside. What they really hit on. And
Yeah.
then things like the beef salad, I just don't like room temperature meat. It was like room temperature meat on top of a salad, and I was like, not so much. But it was very, very good what they hit on. So it's a little bit sterile of an environment for me, but that's not the point of a place like Aroy, which I can appreciate for sure.
So I have to say that I love Thai food. It's some of my favorite food. And when I got there and started to eat the food, I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, I can't believe that it's taken me so long to find this place.
Oh.
It was so good, and I was regretting all of my missed meals. And I was thinking, I want to kiss the person that recommended it. It was really great food. We had the somtam too,
That
So
was
good.
great.
which
I
is so
love that.
good.
Oh.
We also had a pork neck
The pork
salad.
neck salad is
which
so good.
Well, I should have had
I
that.
could,
Oh,
like,
so
I just
delicious.
wanted more and more and more of it.
Sour, tangy.
Yes,
It's-
the herbs are totally fresh. Everything just kind of punches at you. It's like everything pops at that
I
place.
love
it's
the
so good.
fresh herbs.
Yeah.
Really, I think are something that are either
Yeah.
overdone so much in Thai food, they're just like, let's throw cilantro on it and then it's good.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think they balance. They really understand flavor, which is so rare to see in a price point of a place like Aroy.
Oh, we
And-
were shocked by the
Right.
bill. We looked at it.
The
and said,
bill
"No."
was a ridiculously cheap amount. But one of the things that I love there is also the I think it's tom yum beef ball soup.
Yeah.
I
First
had
of all,
to
I
try
love
that.
saying beef ball, and then
the
secondly, I think that soup is really kind of a great sample of really good Thai food that's homey, and something that just makes you just sit and you're like, I'm just happy having this bowl of soup
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
like
That's
Thai
all.
comfort food is what I
Yeah.
would call it.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly,
definitely
exactly.
Thai
Yeah.
comfort food.
Well, one of the things about a lot of Thai restaurants is you might want something spicy, but they kind of Americanize
Yes.
the spice.
We ordered a couple dishes medium spicy because not everyone. I love spicy, but not everyone at the table did, and it was spicy.
When
Yeah.
I order places, because I don't look like I can handle heat, I always go, I order Indian and I go extra spicy, and they go, really? I'm like, yes, really. And here I was like extra spicy, and I'm like, oh, you should have totally called me on that because I was not expecting that spicy.
Did either of you try the sausage there?
No.
The Isan sausage.
The sausage,
right? The
is,
sausage
and they
is
make
spicy.
it there.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what it's stuffed with is a lot of peppers. So you get that nice slow burn, a slow burn in
There's
the
two
palate.
different kinds of
Yeah, and-
sausages. So there's also the kind of sour,
The sour one,
sausage, which is
also
the
very
Isan,
good.
which Isan is a province and it's an area of Thailand, it's northeastern Thailand.
Right.
So it's kind of known for those sour flavors. So Elizabeth, you live in that neighborhood, well, very close by. What's the crowd like there?
I hate to say it this way because it sounds so snotty, but like in the know, like people who know Thai food, people who understand how it should smell and taste, and people who are looking for that just a real easy afternoon or evening, just eating with your friends. And I really love next door is like Amy's Candy Bar. So after having all that heat, it's kind of nice to go next door and have something that's like a little bit more subtle.
I like that it's a quieter neighborhood. It's not as
Yeah.
busy. You know, I love being in the city, but I hate it at the same time. It felt like that was like a nice exhale.
And tree-lined streets.
Yeah,
and
it's super
families.
suburban,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's very
Very pretty.
Yeah.
So Elizabeth, you chose Aroy Thai. Sum it up for us.
I would say if you know Thai food, you'll love it, and it's totally reasonable and BYOB, right?
Liz.
It is going to be one of my new go-to restaurants. It's not in my neighborhood, but I will make my way there.
Great. And Dan?
You know what? Now that I know what to order, and I'll call you up after the show, and I'll figure out what to order, it is going to be one of my new favorite Thai places.
Look at that. Changed some opinions.
She did.
You can taste test for yourself at Aroy Thai, 4656 North Damon, 773-275-8360. Open for lunch and dinner every day. Reservations are accepted. Alcohol is BYOB, and the average tab per person is $18. So on this week's show, we featured Travell in River North, La Palapa in McKinley Park, and Aroy Thai in Ravenswood. Let's recap what our guests had to say. First, we went to Wabash and stopped in at Travell. Dan recommends it for their attention to detail and exquisite menu. Elizabeth enjoyed the simple dishes and loved the cocktails. Liz was not a fan of all the food, but thought the service was great. Next, we traveled down to 34th Street and landed at La Palapa. Liz recommends it for their Mexican seafood and the lively atmosphere. Elizabeth loved the food and had a great time with friends. Dan was reminded of Costa Rica and thought the ceviche was awesome. Lastly, we landed on Damon and dropped in at Aroy Thai. Elizabeth recommends it for their comforting and authentic Thai cuisine. Dan thought the food was hit or miss. Liz loved everything she tried and said it will be her new go-to restaurant. We've had a wonderful time this week. I want to thank my guests, Dan Camus, Liz Gress, and Elizabeth Gomez. Join us next week for 3 new guests recommending 3 of their favorite restaurants right here on Check Please. I'm Catherine Diorio, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
For more information about the restaurants featured on Check Please, go to WTTW.com/checkplease.